In three, two, one, clap. Yo, what up? It's MGG. I'm joined here by my co-host.
Hey, it's Player 5.
What's going on? It's Jugga.
And we're here to give you another Should You Watch / Should You Read video. Today, we're talking about that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Let's find out if this series is worth the watch. Going straight into the story. Just a quick overview of what the story is about. The story follows, I guess he used to be a salaryman. I'm just gonna use his I don't know, new name, not his old name, but Rimuru. He gets killed by like a mugger or purse snatcher or something like that. And gets transported to a magical world, aka it's an Isekai, so this shouldn't be anything new. So he pops up in this magical world as a slime. What a twist. And pretty much has to figure out how to, like, what's going on, navigate the world, and basically figure out if he can get back home to Japan. I guess without too many spoilers, that's pretty much the overview. And then we can go right into the main character.
Okay. So the main character, Rimuru, I don't even remember his like real person name. But that doesn't matter because the only thing we get out of that is like delete my hard drive and he gets shanked.
Bro,
So I will say this. The first thing I want to note about the character is that he is definitely funny. Not like drop dead, hilarious, but more of a everyman type of guy funny. Where it's like, oh, I can relate to, exactly what this dude is going through. But basically, he gets turned into a slime, not your typical slime, because most slimes are just like trash. But he has this ability of like whatever he devours, he kind of like can get a power boost from it or gain like his properties and can turn into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he goes on I guess a binge of getting stronger, which kind of leads to him becoming like a pretty OP, which isn't abnormal for an isekai.
Right.
But then after that, he kind of goes. I don't know. I want to say continuing to be a average guy. Like he's a super average person, but with like these amazing powers. Kind of, I would say similar to if you've ever seen what's the one about the guy that's overly cautious guy? I know that's not the name.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The hero's like OP but overly cautious. Like that. That's like more or less. That's the title. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that one. But yeah, like I would say in general, he is what you would consider like those bland main characters. He's not like overly like I gotta save the day, but he's also like not gonna let you get like fucking stomped out in the alley or nothing like that. You know what I mean? He just kind of like he real regular. He a regular ass dude that just happened to get shanked and reincarnated. Like, if we get honest here, I would consider him just like an extremely lucky guy. I guess that's kind of the best way the character kind of jumps out to me. Is there anything that y'all would like to add or I guess like say about that?
I'm pretty much in like complete agreement with like a couple of pluses just from what he brought over from his actual experience as like a salaryman for, I forgot like his exact job title, at least when he was alive. But I mean, he used a reasonable amount of skill sets that like he definitely showed that was from his job title for how he progressed like his own, well, little spoiler alert here, but his own like country that he's like pretty much starting up and such. And I thought that was definitely at least very interesting and like one of the biggest pluses with like the series, but also like more so as far as his own character to like best utilize. the people who he came into contact with to really start building up his own country, like the roads, the streets, the buildings, the actual society aspect, the economy aspect, etc. But he's, I mean, like pretty much as you said though, he's like a regular guy using just like futuristic societal and like kind of economic boosting measures to really develop his own country in this kind of time period. So it's just interesting to see. But no, he's just a funny, average yet clever and capable kind of guy as a slime. So which brings in the comedy. So no, I like him.
Yeah. To add to that, I liked him. I do get your points about him being like regular or whatever, but my main issue with him is that I did feel like some of his like quote unquote strats in certain battles didn't really have like the backing that I felt like it needed for him to like just be able to finesse certain things. That was more my issue with him. Like I actually thought he was really funny. In terms of like how like situations ended up playing out. Some of the OVA episodes are pretty funny. Like the cast of characters he surrounds himself around allow for like his regularness to just add to like the funny, because the people around him like worship him, and he's basically kind of just like, all right, this is weird, but all right, I'll take advantage of like this and that. Like I'll wait till we get to the hair part, but my nigga with the what's his name? Was it Gobuta? Either way, there's like the goblin with the mohawk who never seemed to really evolve.
Gobuta. I think his name's Gobuta.
Yeah, Gobuta. Yeah, that nigga.
Yeah,
hilarious.
Gobuta.
Yeah.
He's probably the best character in the show.
I got some. But yeah, so that part, I think in the beginning I really enjoyed his character. And then like around the time where like they got that demon lord to kind of join up with them, it was like, all right, I don't know where this show wants to go anymore. But I did like the world building aspect, and I liked as far as like Rimaru's character goes, like his interaction with the various people. I just felt like in the beginning he did spam the I'm just gonna absorb you move a lot. But then they kind of found a way to like switch it up and give him some other shit. Like when he went against like the pig lord, the orc guy, he finally like, I felt like used a move that Kaizen wasn't just absorbing, or maybe he did absorb that nigga too.
I mean, like in the end, he did absorb it, but as far as like the build up to it wasn't like the automatic go to, at least from the start, which was at least refreshing. So.
Yeah, because I thought the battle with Ifrit was a little petty because of that whole, well, fuck yeah, I'm just gonna absorb you bullshit. But then again, I mean, it makes him OP, so.
Yeah, I felt like he for having that OP move, he didn't use it as much as I like. If you being realistic, you probably would.
Right.
Like, and that's the one bonus I'll give him to that. Like, I'm not like, discrediting. I agree with y'all. Like, yo, it definitely gets spammed. You know what I'm saying? But for having such a OP like wind tunnel type move, he definitely did other types of shit. Even in the beginning, would try other shit before just like, let me just go ahead one shot you real quick, like, which I'm like, it's fair, especially now that we got anime out like One Punch Man and shit like that, where you're like, for him to have this OP one shot move, I can respect what's going on here.
Right. I mean, like as you said, they definitely had like because of the move, they pretty much had an opportunity to make it like One Punch Man, or like at least like to combo it with the comedy aspect of the show in general, in the sense that like most battles, or at least like most one-on-one battles in the show, they definitely throw in like a reasonable, like if you want to measure maybe like 30-40% of comedy into the battle, where you don't take the one-on-ones as seriously as, like an actual fighting anime. You know what I mean? So in that kind of respect, they could have like pretty much made the show almost like everyone struggles with this one guy. It's like all boss battles, and then homie just rolls up like, "Oh, y'all good? Oh, you need me to beat him real quick? All right, bet." And then he just eats him, and then just moves on with the rest of the show. So I mean, they could have definitely rolled with that route, especially like how they like balance everything as far as like the actual different aspects of the show. But since they didn't, and still actually gave him some clout as far as the actual fighting ability that he has, and the actual I don't want to say necessarily battle strats, but at least the battle flexibility that he's showing with the moves that he's actually built up over the time is actually pretty legit. So I give him big ups for that.
Yeah.
I had one more thing real quick to the main character / story. I did appreciate what I like, the level up system they added in there. I mean, I guess it's probably the case in other isekai. I'm not a big isekai person, but I did like the whole like naming convention and being able to kind of see like the characters that follow him evolve over time. They did go fan servicey with some things, like the lizard chicks. I thought it was laughable though. So, like, I wasn't annoyed with it, but the fact that like when he named the lizard chicks, boom, they like, you know, these borderline sexy lizard people. But he named like what's Gabiru? He named him his same name, which I thought was funny. And then dude just got wings. Like, it was like, okay. I see there's a stark difference between how they want this development to go, but
that's a common I would say trope in isekais, like in video games. You know, just like, oh man, you get to a certain point in the game where you get like a title or something like that. So I've seen it. You know, just my last little point I would make about the character is that you know, I don't like the character and the world he's in. Yeah, it's so like I don't like the fact that he is like low key One Punch Man strong, but he has like kind of like also a bland, I don't know, goal. I don't want to say he got a bland like One Punch Man personality, because he don't, but like kind of like the goal, like, you know what I'm saying? He just out here, you know what I'm saying? Like, what this nigga doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he be, you know, getting niggas together, but really I feel like that was kind of an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like, you know what I would really want to see out of an isekai? Because if you start watching isekai, I wouldn't say that personality is the number one personality, but it's in the top 3 personalities, right? Like Kirito was kind of a similar type of personality as that. Like, it's in the top 3 of personalities. Like, I'm neutrally, passively here, but I'll go hard for niggas if they seek me out. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I want to see like a Bakugo ass nigga. Like, bro, I'm in this bitch. Fuck y'all. Come here, nigga. You my slave now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get close with like Ainzel Gon from Overlord.
I was about to say, like,
really
that's pretty much your ideal then, right there.
Yeah, and I really like Overlord, but that nigga like nice about it. I need a nigga that's like, nah, bro, y'all really not worth shit.
So, on that same line of question though, like, let's try this out. If we were to like rank his main characterness in comparison to other isekai main characters that we've enjoyed, where would you put him? Like, obviously to me, Ainz is at the top for me, and like maybe Kirito's at the bottom. So he's somewhere in between there, but I can associate, I don't know, we can come up with some label for it, but he's definitely not Ainz level in my opinion. But go ahead, sorry.
In my opinion, I got to give him 2 ratings, right? Okay. Because there's your typical isekai, and then I want to say what could be considered D&D based isekai, right? And I feel like for a typical isekai, I just want to give him like I can't even put this dude in a number. Let's just call it like on our scale of rating. I would put him in like the decent plus. Like, he may be decent as hell. Like, I wouldn't put no disrespect on him. You could watch it. but like, you know, the nigga's still decent. He ain't lit, you feel me? So
Yeah.
like, that's just how I feel about him. And but as far as like specifically like the D&D style, not like video game style, more like, you know, mystical action adventure guys, then now his score got to get lower because smaller pool of people. And
Yeah.
then when you look at them niggas like Goblin Slayer, niggas like Ainzel Gone, like them niggas be really going hard. It's like, bro, I can't put you up there with these niggas. I really can't. Like, he got to start to be trash from that perspective. Like, because I feel like, you know, those dudes that's like, yo, I'm in a world that's like, you know, really heavily based on like, you know, the D&D structure, or maybe some people might even call it like what's that nigga Tolkien type structure, like that type of isekai, super high fantasy. Like, in that specific realm, I don't like this nigga. Like, I would much rather spend my time watching Should I Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, or Overlord, Goblin Slayer, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these other that are along the same path with cooler main characters that I relate with more, or not relate with, because I relate to him most because he a regular ass nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Low key, I mean, that might be the key right there, bro. I mean, like, you right now it sounds like you be about isekais for the actual like fantastical like amazement of it / grinding in like another world to really like build yourself up, right? But since that you relate to this kid so much, you're not really getting that extra like rush of like endorphins that you would get for someone like Overlord. So that might be it, bro.
Like, if you a regular ass nigga and then you come to this magic world where you strong as shit and you continue to just be a regular ass nigga, it's just kind of like, nigga. Like,
I mean, yeah, but again, I mean, homie's running a whole country though. I mean, it's a yes and a no. It's like, I hear you. At the same time, though, it's like that's only in his head. As far as like on paper, homie's doing mad work. You know what I mean?
Is he running this country and doing all this shit because he wanted to, or this shit fell into his lap because he the strongest nigga around?
Well, those are facts, but I mean, low-key, you're about to hit like some actual real life notes though too. So I mean,
but to Player 5's point, I do feel like they kind of dropped the ball on whatever they tried to set for him initially. Like, almost like the writer changed his mind, because it kind of seemed like his purpose was like, I'm gonna creep on women now. Like, when he died, he was like, never had a girlfriend before. You know, it's definitely gonna be me pulling a bunch of hoes and like smashing them hoes. But like, it's end of season 1, he hasn't done that at all. Like, and even with the women in his harem, he kind of like, they're more friends to him than he is like attracted to them. You get what I'm saying? He'll make comments, but it just seemed like a lot of the stuff they set up when he died that kind of was giving me like, oh, I think this is where the story's gonna go. They kind of just dropped, and like Player 5 said, he just kind of stayed himself in the new world, where he's just like averagely good. Like, everyone around, if you're shitty, like, of course he'll like demolish you. But he's still more or less average. Like, he's doing what he can do.
I honestly got to go a little bit against that low key though. At least as far as the world that he's in, as far as like power rankings go, the only people that they've introduced, at least at the end of the first season, that's truly stronger than him are the actual demon lords.
Right.
Like, no one else other than that though can actually touch him right now.
I don't know, bro. I think
a couple secret kids, but I mean, he's pretty much at the top of the food chain as much as you can get. Not to mention like a slight spoiler. Oh wait, what?
I think Dwarf King could definitely throw hands with him. You think he's bodying Dwarf King?
I actually think so. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I'm not sure if this was supposed to be a testament to his power, but I mean, don't forget, like, even Milam said that, yo, why not just be a demon lord? Like, I mean, you know, I mean, like, I mean, it could, based on her character, it can go either way as far as like whether she was serious as far as the power or just the, you know, you my homie, I want you to be on my status. But at the same time, I mean, he's still talking to demon lords to a reasonable respect. And though he obviously can't beat Milam, they pretty much put her at like the top of the Demon Lord chain by itself. So I mean, I don't know. It's kind of tough to say, but as far as the specific question with the Dwarf King, I think he can. I think he can.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with Jugga here. Is that like seeing what that nigga can do, and we know he low key got the power of a dragon on him. Like he really will win.
Mine
I'm not
is.
saying he gonna crash this nigga, and it's just gonna be like oh, you know, you got a body, but like it'll be a good fight. But like, come on, that he's still winning though.
I mean, I guess I can see it. I like you said though. I don't think it's like a curb stomp though. That's how I am. And I feel like country to country, maybe right now. Well, no, they got Milliam now. That's the unfortunate part. But if she wasn't there, I think they would probably be on par with each other. And then maybe Dew would edge it out because he has more experience. But that's just my thoughts.
That'd be interesting. I could definitely see both sides. I mean, like the Dwarf King did note. I mean, at least as far as potential goes, that like the country Rimuru's building is gonna eventually get stronger than his though.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's definitely gonna happen. Whether they're there or not, that is actually a fair debate. So I'm unsure. But yeah, that would definitely be a fight though. I mean, like when them ogres showed out, when the orcs showed up, I mean, like bro, like. They got mad firepower, bro.
So. The problem is like he be having I don't know. So look, I guess I'll just give my reading on here since it seemed like we went back here. But for him, I think I give him like a flat decent. And my biggest issue with it is because it seems like the author is playing a game of like linear shonen storyline to like random shit happens to these niggas storyline, and that's kind of what threw me off. Like at some point it seemed like, all right, he has kind of a goal and like we're gonna see him work his strength up, but it's like once the Demon's Lord showed up, it seemed to kind of like plateau his power development, which kind of bothered me because I kind of wanted to see like what he was gonna do next. I wanted to see him overcome a Demon Lord. I'm sure we're gonna get to that part, but a lot of this first season really felt like a prologue to the main linear storyline that I think we're gonna get in the later seasons, because it was like kind of building a character set. We got the people he fucks with, they're all decently strong now, but there still wasn't like this linear line of growth for him yet. He's still trying to find that nigga. They put those little points in, but it's just like those last few episodes to end off the season felt like they were kind of just wandering aimlessly around doing shit with no purpose. So that's kind of why he's more of a decent for me, because I felt like he didn't like. I still can't get a read on his character just yet. Like I enjoy him mostly because just shits be funny, and like watching the harem like fight amongst themselves for him be absolutely hilarious. And my nigga Veldora, the fucking storm dragon, is the coldest nigga out there. So like it's more about his harem and their interactions with him that make it funny and make me like Rimuru. But when you kind of take that away and it's just Rimuru, I would kind of be like, what's the point? You know?
Well, I mean, now that we talking about the harems, do we want to switch conversation to the harems and side characters?
Yeah, we could pretty.
Oh, do you want to give your rating though first, Jugga?
Real quick, I will. Let's see. I'd probably. I'm probably in most agreements with player 5. I wouldn't give him a Liddy status yet because he's just missing like that. He's missing that kind of aggressive drive that you would see in like most of at least the other big isekais. That would have been like at least cool to see at the least. Granted, with the show, I do enjoy the balance of sometimes I wouldn't say hardcore, but slightly hardcore compared with the light aspects they throw into it. So pretty much right in the middle at like a decent as hell for Rimuru going. I mean, I enjoy him. Long story short, he's mostly chill, but I mean, when it comes down to the grind, he's not like foolish. If anything, I definitely got to give him some big ups. Like I don't remember him actually doing any stupid acts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like he was never like overly foolish when it comes to like any villain / like any kind of interaction. He still treated it reasonably seriously to the extent, and like pretty much how his progression's been going has been I just like it. I just like the storyline that he's kind of on, at least at the moment. So yep, pretty much decent as hell. But we can start moving into the relationships he's grown. So he has, I mean, we pretty much already touched on it, but I mean, he pretty much started a country from the get-go, which pretty much he's touched lives of like all the races in the actual forest of Jura. So I mean, he's touched you know, the whatchamacallit, the goblins at first, hashtag Goblin Slayer, probably would wreck that is, just to throw a note out there. Anyways,
they look just like the goblins from Goblin Slayer.
Yo, I was thinking that, right? They actually were pretty close.
But I think it's like a thing maybe with these Isekais that they kind of draw them the same, because even the other one that I'm reading that was similar to this, Monster, goblins are drawn pretty much almost exactly the same how they're drawn here. I guess it's just like a standardized like format now across the series.
Mm-hmm. But the relationships he made with let's see, so he pretty much has the goblins, the ogres, the orcs, and the lizardmen.
And then my nigga Veldora.
He's sleeping on his biggest asset.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Boy, low-key Ifrit in a way, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. I mean, just a little side note, as far as if they're gonna add in, as far as like the OVA episodes and the 24.5 with Veldora's journal, they're gonna really add that into season 2, because that'd be interesting to get Ifrit's perspective on that though too. As far as like it going inside of them, I guess that's probably like the one only thing I don't like right now, but hopefully they get into season 2 as far as the real status update with what's going on with like Veldora's imprisonment / what's going on with Ifrit too, if they're gonna even like maximize that at all. But it'd be good to see that as a status update in season 2. But that's a side note. Anyways, yeah, as far as relationships go, then that's probably a good place to start. As far as like the actual tone of the series in itself, I think was accurately illustrated just in that interaction and that first relationship made between Rimuru and Veldora, because like Veldora, like pretty much like his like demeanor as like this, you know, strong, aggressive dragon, and then he's just actually at heart just like a tsundere. So it was like it pretty much just like said that like, yo, like this series is gonna go hard, but at the same time be light as fuck. And like that's exactly what like Veldora is in general, and that kind of like proceeded into like all the other interactions / relationships he made too. So it was it was cool. I mean, at least as far as how it started.
Yeah. I would definitely put heavy pluses on Veldora. That nigga, like, I guess we can rate like the harems at the end or something like that. But for me, Veldora is like a lit character. He was only in the first episode, and then like you didn't see him again till the Veldora's journal episode. But for me to watch a highlight reel of a season, like just because he was in there, that was like the only reason why I watched that episode. So to me, he definitely played up the laughs, and like you said, it was like a good setup for the like juxtaposition of like, oh, you know, you're gonna see some hard shit, but we gonna keep it funny and lighthearted at the end too. And like to your side note too, I think that maybe he's probably gonna come up as like a way for Rimuru to get over this Demon Lord hump, because right now I think he's probably significantly weaker than like the top niggas. But I think when he gets to the point where he fights one of them for real, this might be the key to like kind of getting Veldora back into the storyline, because it seems like basically the whole world shook up because he disappeared. Facts. So even though he was just hiding and he couldn't actually do shit, niggas still was that scared of him that they like, yeah, we good. We'll leave these goblins and shit alone. So.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm like also like I really think this nigga can box anybody, because like, you know, one at some point you know what's gonna happen. Like at some point, Veldora gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he gonna have his Naruto moment, and it's over with. You know, like. But I'm waiting for that. I might not watch until that, but I might just peep that on YouTube when it happens. As far as characters go, this is what I'll say. I don't think there are necessarily like weak or anything like that as far as like a fun to watch. Like they're fun to watch. I just think that personally I am just in a different mood for anime right now. And I want, isekais, at least out of my isekais, I want some isekais where niggas like lose members. I've been watching some of like the smaller, less like hyped ones, and like where it'll be like, oh, you start with like these 5 niggas, but then like 3 of them dead by the end of the series or something like that, or like one of them evil now. So you know what I'm saying? Like I like that. I with the isekais. I think I'm just getting into, which I don't think is ever gonna happen with his group, and I'm not even saying that that's a bad thing. It's just, I don't know. With these stakes, I wonder if there's actually gonna be any, weight to them. And as far as like characters, I like the dragon for sure. I keep forgetting this goblin nigga name. I was gonna call that nigga goblin.
Gobuta.
Gobuta.
Gobuta, yeah.
That was hard, bro.
Yeah, I like him. I like the dire wolves.
They dope. Like the storm wolves.
Yeah.
That's just
the wolves. I like them. I think more people should start getting like non-anthropomorphic like creatures on their team. You know what I'm saying? Like how much cooler with all the other. You said what?
I was just saying, like, yeah, like people should like not sleep on Rango because he's like literally one of like the strongest like homie characters he got. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. And I think it's cool. It had like a new like little dynamic where I'm like, you never see that in Isekai's life. If you think about it, what if Goblin Slayer had like a dog homie, or what if like huh?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I just said right.
Yeah, just like I don't know, maybe like any. I don't feel like naming the niggas' names, but any of these main characters in these isekais, you rarely see. Like Shield Hero. What if he had? Well, he did have a chicken.
Oh, I mean, like Philo, it's kind of both.
Yeah. But Philo spent a lot of her time as not a chicken.
Right. But, and mostly like a harem chick that doesn't have any personality.
And I like Philo. I love her chicken bowl. I think me and you, Jugga, were saying, hey yo, put respect on that chicken, bro. Like
the new Philo queen, bro.
You got the hands for sure.
Yeah. Crazy hands, bro. But I'm just like those were things I like, the non regular type members of the group. Everybody else was real mad at me.
I thought like for the different harems, like to me, like I said, I'm not a big isekai person, but the ones that I have seen, it's like the harem or like the group of people that follow the person usually are just either like they're mostly for fan service or kind of just like I don't care about them. But I think because of this whole like leveling up scheme, because I think that for me personally is just reminds me of RPGs and all that stuff, and I guess I'm just interested in that. I think that's what drew me more to care about the harem. But on top of that, like they really just do a great job writing the funny when it comes to his interactions with the harem. Like I forget the chick's name, but the ogre chick that's like his secretary. Oh my god, she's hilarious. Like when she cooks him food, bro. Like in the whole squad, yeah, the ogre set him up. Like they was like, yeah, bro, they had this whole episode going on a mission just to stop this lady from cooking, bro. And then she cooked something, and that shit burnt through to the center of the earth. Like when it dropped on the ground, it just kept burning through shit. So to me, I think like the interactions amongst the harem and like with Rimuru is absolutely hilarious. Like I love that part of it. And there's like getting to see them grow. I hope we get to see more of that. In the later seasons, is also interesting because I liked how old motherfucker, like once he got named, turned into that swole old elder, and then they were just like acting different, behaving different. I feel like they did leave some of the characters, like they dropped off, like that other guy who lost his brother who got named, that other ogre. You kind of like, he's kind of like faded to the background, but they just, it's just hilarious. Like Gobuta, like when Gabiru pulled up and he was like, yeah, I want to fight the strongest one of y'all, and they was like, all right, Gobuta, handle this nigga, and he dropped that motherfucker. Like shit like that, I think like made me more intrigued in the show because I just like that interaction. Like, and I was kind of disappointed that episode where he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go teach some human students magic or some shit. That shit was really boring to me because I really did enjoy his interactions with like his niggas. Like, and I thought they did a good job of not, the harem didn't seem like they were just there for pointless reasons up until like maybe now that he added that pig guy, because I haven't seen that pig guy do shit. Like they tell you like, oh, he's gonna be building stuff, but as far as like his relationship to Rimuru and the whole squad, he hasn't really been doing much. Same thing with the lizard. So it's like I'm noticing as his harem gets bigger, some of the characters are starting to like fall off as far as being like notable or coming in. Like once he names them, like nothing's really happened to some of those characters. But to me, harem wise, I thought like I loved it. I thought they were fucking hilarious. I could watch like just side stories of them doing shit all day, really, because I just thought they did a really good job of like making that shit hilarious. Like it was interesting to watch for me.
I agree for sure. His harem, because like, you know, I say they handle the harem better than most, because the types of harem, well, there's really only one type of harem I hate, is the useless love for the main character for no reason.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you know, you get some of that here, but it's balanced off by them being interesting characters, and not everything they say is just like only about him. And that's why I like, you know, Asta's harem too. You know, so I fuck with the harem for the simple fact that them niggas provide use other than just like, you know, fan service or like,
True.
You know, just hyping the main character head up. You know.
Right, and I think that also actually is a tribute to Rimuru's maturity, in the sense that they could have, I mean, you could call it like slightly ecchi parts that they really put in, but they obviously don't do it heavy. And I think that a reason why that works is because how Rimuru handles it. In the sense that, I mean, like there are like, you know, multiple times where homie's like literally in the bath with his harem, but doesn't really like think of it as a big deal. You know what I mean? Like he's still just taking a bath. So because he keeps it like super chill and it's no big deal, and the audience can do that the same and just handle the love as it is and not really as a device to show you some fan service. So it was just it's just refreshing to see that, one, in an MC, and then obviously two, in the main story itself, where the female characters can just hold their own as their own character. So it's pretty legit.
One negative I will add to the harem, like, and it's my issue with the whole series, is just I think they like do a good job of that initial development, but then they kind of like fall off. Like what Player 5 was talking about with like the wolves. Like I love the wolves and how they how like Rimuru was actually able to just create a relationship between goblins and wolves now, because like all the goblins could like summon the wolves out their shadows, but it was like they never really like looked on it much. Like you kind of see it a little bit through what Gobuta does sometimes, but it's like I wish they would, like, it seemed like he just does it like very sporadically, but it was like, oh, it'd been cool if you just said, okay, hey ogres, like y'all just formed this alliance with blah 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 thing, and then it started doing some more development, or at least if they just touched on the races a little bit more. But I feel like that's where they kind of falter. You kind of just stick to those notable ones in each tribe, and you kind of like lose the fact that, well, he kind of named everybody here, so technically in their own ways they should still kind of be like developing, but we never really touch on it.
Yeah, it's I feel like that's something they could either one choose to ignore or maybe bring back up in season 2. Because another thought I've just been having in general, as far as to if there's gonna be any major growth with characters now that all the characters have been named. Because one thing I was noticing, at least within the show, as far as like the big characters who got like a huge boost, like pretty much the ogres mainly, when homie gives them a name, they go through like a huge transition or like a huge upgrade. But from that point, there wasn't much growth, period. So I guess they pretty much have an opportunity there to either one, keep it going like that, in the sense of like all they just need as far as like an RPG gaming perspective, as just get into more fights and you get stronger, or they're just gonna leave it as we're probably just gonna cap them right here and like keep on world building and just straight up introduce further stronger characters, where Rimuru just needs further stronger homies to deal with those new villains, and it just pretty much increased the character count instead of the quality of the characters that's already been introduced. So like fingers crossed it's the latter, but I could definitely see the other way too. So it's gonna be curious to see, but I hope they definitely do the latter.
I got a question. Is there any repercussion to this nigga naming people, or can like anybody just spam?
I mean, immediately, yes, but overall, no. Like, it just actually seems just really OP. Like, if you have like a large amount of magic from how they're explaining it, then you should be naming like a dick ton of people. Like, I mean, like you could practically, I mean, like as the show has already shown, that you could pretty much just create an army by just naming monsters.
Yeah, but I think what might happen is like the risk he runs if he like try to name like Millium or something like that. Like if he names someone more powerful than him, does he die, or like is there some more significant impact? Because I mean it does drain his mana to name those motherfuckers, but I do wonder if he tries to name someone out of his league, if it's more of a like, oh, you're not just gonna pass out, nigga. Like we gonna punish you for trying that type thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be curious. But I feel like at least right now, all the characters that they've been introducing that is actually stronger than him kind of already has a name in the first place, where it's like that situation wouldn't come up unless they intentionally wanted to do that for some kind of reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the naming thing is going to be consistent in the series. Like, I do feel like eventually, even if he just renames her the same name, they introduce that concept for a reason. So I think if they really fuck with him, or he gets to that next level of power, whoever was stronger than him is now going to be a part of his thing. So I think he's going to rename like Millium at some point. It's just that he's weaker than her right now. But I definitely think it's going to happen where she just becomes part of his group.
Well, I guess we'll see. That'd definitely be interesting. I mean, if anything, I feel like if it comes to that point, then they might just be close to the end of the series, in all honesty. Because I mean, like the only people they've really introduced that's stronger than Milam, at least, is like the actual the colored demons. So I mean, like I guess that does attribute to what you're saying before. Now that I'm thinking about it, well, I guess we've been talking about spoilers this whole time now. But in the sense that they did note on the final episode that homie did name that black demon. So I mean, like the question then is like, is he stronger than that black demon? Because if that's a yes, then that's then he's even stronger than what I thought originally. Because that black demon don't play no games. So
I mean, to be honest though, it could be close to an ending. Because if you think, or you know, I'm trying to stop and think on isekais. The only long isekais I know are Inuyasha and fucking and Sword Art Online. So I'm like, you know, hell, Digimon only went 2 seasons. So I'm like, look, most isekais don't go that long. So what, they about to get into season 3 now?
I mean, like, don't sleep though. I mean, like, well, we already talked about Overlord, right? Overlord has 3-4 seasons, so and it's still going.
Yeah.
So I mean, if
we'll see.
anything, we could say I guess this is like a newish concept as far as like there's not that many isekais that's running long, but at least right now it looks like that's what they're trying to do. So you never know.
Yeah.
Do we want to rate the harem, or did you have
that's all I was gonna say. No, I was just gonna rate. So
okay.
One last thing on relationships. I actually wanted to I almost forgot. I wanted to actually also give some big ups, at least to like the side comedic relationship that he has with his own great sage. Like in his head / his power device. Because like low key, a couple of those interactions be kind of fun. Where
That's
like
true.
the great sage would just be where he would say something like I don't know, like man, that looks like a lot of soldiers over here. Notice there's actually 25,400. Like he's just like, bro, I didn't even need to know that right now. He's just like, oh, okay, I'll just shut up then. He just like goes away. But like low key, I actually kind of like that as far as like at least one, the concept of great sage, because I kind of low key kind of think that's like an OP ability by itself. Then two, for it to actually give it like its own personality, I thought was actually kind of different. And what was definitely like I'm a big ups to one of the at least OG relationships he has. Granted, it's not like obviously paramount to like one of his like all around character building kind of relationships, but it's like again just one of the comedic side bits that they have to the story. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did have my own issue though with the little ass pull of. I mean, it's not that far of an ass pull, but the random like, oh hey, autopilot mode, turn that bitch on. Like what? Like was this alluded to before or anything like that? Like when he was fighting the ogre guy. So that's kind of my like. He just seems to have like a bag of tricks that the writer just like writes ass pulls for him sometimes. Like with that, where I was like, oh okay, I guess you're introducing this concept, and I guess the world's set up, so I can't really argue that this thing exists. But it does seem pretty out of nowhere, No,
the autopilot was kind of like that one. It was cool to see, at least like animated, obviously, but it was definitely like a question mark. Like, wow, that was actually like at least overall when you really think about it, that's kind of OP. Like that's like me as like another like I guess OP trait of like an OP ability that he even had. But I mean at the same time, I think that's mostly there to again reinforce that this is a light anime. Like it would be different, I guess, in my opinion, if the story was treated more seriously to the action aspect of, or not the action aspect, but I guess the actual what do you want to call it? Like the story / character story progression that Rimuru's on is like more light than what it is actually like serious with his goal, because he doesn't really quote unquote have one. So it's just like one of those things where what, we got like a light cool anime, let's just give him another ability that gives some big ups again to the animation / like his own OP-ness as a character. So I mean like it was kind of it was kind of cheap, for lack of a better word, but at the same time I just didn't treat it seriously enough to really think about it like, what, y'all giving him way too many abilities. It's just, oh okay, another cool ability, let's see it. So
gotcha. All right, well let's go ahead and rate the harems then.
I'm gonna go ahead and rate. Overall, once again, I feel like I gotta give it 2 ratings. If we talking about of all harems of all genres, I gotta put this in the lower tier. Solid trash, maybe a decent trash.
I think we'll give him much.
You gotta show me what harems are lit. I might watch them.
I mean, like for example, trash harem. An example of me to a solid harem would be like Asta's, whereas like, bro, even if they aren't just fiending over this nigga, I can care about what they're doing as an individual. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can care about their power-ups, but that's just off the top. I could probably think of some better ones with some time, but I'm not a fan. I don't feel like any of them truly serve a purpose to the story. They're funny, sure. but I feel like that's just them as characters, like, you know, or that's the theme of the anime is to kind of be funny. Most things are. So I don't know. I gotta get them a decent trash. But with respect to just like isekai harems, which I think are kind of, you know, a trope for being pretty bad, I would maybe it's decent. It's alright.
Okay. I think for this, I have to give it higher than I think I rated Rimuru. So I think this harem to me is probably, I say like a good, decent plus, maybe a decent as hell minus. Like I said, the interactions, whenever these niggas show up on the screen to interact with one another, I'm almost always laughing. So that's like more or less where I'm getting the plus from. Plus, I don't feel like a lot of them were there just for like the fan service aspect. It seemed like they just played a lot of the fan servicey stuff up for laughs. So I thought that was good too. As far as a harem with substance, like I said, I'm interested to see their strength development. Like I think with most of the people he has in the harem right now, most of their storylines are closed out. Like the ogre was the only open one, and that kind of got ended with once they beat the ogre lord guy. So pretty much it's figuring out what their purpose is, like Player 5 said. So that's kind of like the negative. But I am interested to see what they're able to do as they evolve. Like, and I guess that's the Digimon in me or whatever. I just like that character progression of like getting stronger, changing your outfit, like new powers. I'm very, very intrigued on that aspect of the show. So I hope that they give me more of that. Plus, I want them to, like, I would rather I know Jug was talking about the two options. I would rather they go with just like bringing in less characters and building up the core nigga skill set than like adding a new powerful character to, I don't know, be the tool for that particular situation and leaving everyone else kind of behind. So I would give them a plus or decent as hell minus.
Me, I'm gonna give it a decent plus. I would normally probably give harems and isekai a decent, just in respect of being average to other harems, as Player 5 was saying, / lower than, if they really didn't like go into who the characters were as people within the harem itself. But I would definitely give it a decent as plus, pretty much for the reasons I mentioned before. As far as to one, the harems aren't there just to satisfy, you know, the etchiness / fan service. And two, just because, well, not just because, but also that they still gave, like, you know, the harems, at least like most of the relationships that he's with, hands. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, Shion like did have, you know, her few minutes of glory / fame as far as like the battles that she was in, and you know, like she ain't no pushover. You know what I'm saying? So like all around, just a decent plus. At least especially comparing to other isekai. So yeah, it was decent.
All right. Well,
you know what this just low-key got me thinking of? And this is a super not related topic, but I need to know. Does Luffy have a love interest?
No.
Just these hands and this goal.
That's literally it.
I mean, he's probably gonna fuck Boa Hancock at the end because she's the one who's expressing interest in him. But yeah, no, he don't.
That's pretty much it. It's like Hancock and Luffy is like Naruto and Hinata, but it's like if Naruto wasn't even feeling Sakura throughout the season. Like that's pretty much like their relationship. So more than likely not, that's how they're gonna end. But
it's definitely gonna be some Goku Chi stuff. Like, you're with me.
Actually, true.
Like,
that's a better comparison. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But to segue into the second to last section, let's talk about the villain. So I think in this show we could argue there's probably like 2 villains. I don't know how I feel about this guy that he just revealed at the end yet. If he's really a villain or more like a very difficult obstacle they're gonna have to fight down the road. Mm-hmm. But at least from what the story has set up, it looks like our main villain is going to be like the demon lord who created or summoned. I forget what his name is though.
Demon Lord Leon.
Yeah, Demon Lord Leon. So clearly he has some types of schemes or plots, and this is kind of the rough roadmap of where Rimuru is going. He's trying to figure out some shit about this guy. Like I said, I think there might be a backup villain in Kuro, and like these 4 other people, but I also can see them as just a very powerful obstacle and not necessarily like a mastermind villain. But so how did we feel about the villains that they set up in this story? Do we like them? Do we hate them?
We feel non-existent,
Yes.
almost an afterthought.
Pretty much.
I agree.
The biggest reason why I was like, yo, I don't want to take this session is because like, is there a villain though? Like,
Right.
I guess them niggas exist, but it's like, is he a villain or is he just a nigga that exists in this world?
See,
though?
but like from the Isekai that I've watched, this concept doesn't seem foreign to me. Where like the villain is very hand wavy, like ReZero. Like the whole thing is like, who the fuck is really the bad guy until like the end of the. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just kind of like floaty in the air, but you don't really know what yet. And then even with Sword Art Online is very clear. It's that guy at the top of the tunnel, but it was kind of just a waste or some bullshit. And then Overlord, I just finished. I'm like halfway through season 2, so I don't know if they fleshed it out more. But it was basically just, who the fuck summoned me here? Is there someone else from my world here? Question mark, question mark, question mark. So I didn't feel like there was also a villain there either. Like a real one.
I think with modern Isekai, that's definitely a trope. Just kind of letting these niggas experience the world. And I'm gonna say, I was hurt by Inuyasha and all that fucking Naraku shit. So I don't mind that niggas don't be having like villains and shit like that no more. I'm okay with that. I just feel like I don't know. It's hard to say if there is a villain, and with that, it's like who do I guess I could talk about some of the loose monsters this nigga has fought, but like, is this demon lord any different than, I don't know, that snake nigga that he bodied at the beginning? Is he?
I think he got more spells.
I guess that nigga just got a higher difficulty rating.
100%.
That's hilarious. It's tough to say. I think that's an argument. I also think at least it's a slight debate as far as to the main. I guess the word we're using is pretty much like obstacles as far as like the main sub villains, quote unquote, that he's had to like knock out. Has low key been in direction of the demon lords. Demon lords meaning like Demon Lord Leon, and then also buddy with the white hair. I want to say his name was Claymore, the one who was kind of directing the clown troupe, who was like pretty much causing chaos and all sorts.
Oh gosh.
So you can kind of argue a combination between those two characters have been like the origin, at least, to most of the big obstacles in Rimuru's world. So I think that those two characters, at a minimum, is going to have to get got if he wants to pretty much continue his own quote unquote goal, which is pretty much not doing nothing, because they're just gonna keep on stirring up ish. And like them as villains is kind of interesting. Like me personally, I mean, I just kind of how would you best describe it? I guess it's like I love to hate the kind of organization that kind of clown troupe does, as far as that, like, they're literally just kind of agents of chaos that just like F's with ish just to F with ish, and like to actually deal with that organization in general is like so complicated and complex because of like all the strings they technically can actually move around. So I think that depending on how much they're going to go into that could definitely be some big villain respect status, at least least as far as that group goes and that demon lord goes. And then Leon's gonna just like pop up as like, you know, the all around have this super evil goal that no one's known, but it's a part of this or this. I feel like that potential is definitely there, though we're like barely seeing it. In any case, I think MGG kind of mentioned this before, but most of this season that we saw is kind of a prologue into the kind of deeper storyline that they can truly get into, which is probably the only reason why those final, I want to say 3 episodes of the series was about those kids that was from the other world, and like him just like being their teacher / like saving their lives with the spirits and such. Because I personally kind of think that that should have been at the start of season 2, but depending on how they start season 2, it could be arguable, but I guess we'll just have to see. In any extent, I just think season 1 was like a big prologue to what the story pretty much has in store, and I think the villains are going to start making a lot bigger noise simply because those villain demon lords are like the only ones who can truly do anything to Rimuru anymore, just because of the power scale right now. So it's like right now, I'd probably give them like just to kind of jump into the rating like kind of early, predictably, I guess. But for now, I'd probably give them like a decent plus, decent as hell minus at the minimum, simply because based on at least like a reasonable amount of episode series, their start as the main villains is making sense. Long story short, like they have like, you know, certain things that they're doing here and there that's making noise, but their actual names aren't hardcore in the foreground, but they're just starting to get in the foreground now. So I would give them like a reasonable rating. Like, yeah, I would say like decent. Yeah, decent plus. I'll say decent plus.
Yeah. To add on to that, I guess I'll borrow from both of y'all and talk more like general obstacles and like general rating on who I think the final villains are. Personally, I felt like the villains he had leading up to I guess like when he kind of established himself, like what's his face's father, the who else, it was a fucking monster that he had to fight, that whatever flying thing, he just had to fight a bunch of random monsters. My issue with it,
with the flying sharks.
yeah, the flying sharks and even the orc lord. Most of those fights, actually, I think I enjoyed the build up to them than the way they ended. They ended pretty like flat. Like even the Ifrit fight was flat. Like, but the build up to him was great. Like I thought the whole like trying to get everybody organized, the lizard men and cool with that to try and fight the orc lord. I thought that was cool. Seeing how the ogres had developed since that time was also dope. And even like coordinating the weak ass goblins to try and beat the wolves, I thought that's too. The actual like when Rimuru got down to throwing the hands, it was pretty meh, or just very like, oh, okay. Like I wouldn't say I was very like into any of those fights. Now when it comes to this main villain guy, like Player 5 alluded to, is very hand wavy. Like he kind of just said, yeah, Shizu, I'm gonna do this for you, but it sounded like he kind of just added it to a task list instead of like prioritizing it. He's kind of just like, eventually I'm gonna cross these niggas and then I will, you know, fulfill my promise to you or whatever. So to me it's whatever. The thing that made me hype for season 2 was really the 4 no color named demons, like, which I guess they aren't really named, they just kind of associated something with them. And why it makes me interested is because I feel like they gon' get a name. They already broken, so I'm interested to see what happens after that. But also like from the world building history aspect, I'm just interested to what stories they have to tell about like the whole demon human relationship and all this other shit. But I think villains as a whole, I would honestly give it like a decent minus. You'll be interested in some of these fights, but honestly, I wouldn't say that that's where you're coming here to watch, or at least that's not what they try to focus on. So that's what I put out there. Decent minus on the villains for me. Do we all?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think I did. I'll just go ahead and say
go ahead.
the best I could give it. It's just a decent on villains. Like, I can't really sit here and like kind of bash them because it's like it's almost like a monster of the week type deal. I was intrigued by some fight scenes were cool, some weren't. It's just decent, maybe decent minus if I'm like, with you on this one.
Alright. Oh, so then I guess we can move on to the last section, which is recommendations. So should someone the time I got reincarnated? I could just kick it off with I recommend the series. I thought it was a good watch. I stuck on the episodes to complete season 1. I think it's just like depending on the mood you're in, but if you're into something like lighthearted that will keep you interested, and you don't, there's multiple seasons coming, but for right now you're not expecting like a huge time investment, I think this is a good watch. You can definitely bust this out in a weekend and feel like you enjoyed your time. I wouldn't think that you would walk away going like this was a shitty thing to watch. If you don't have anything else on your list, you got a free weekend, I definitely recommend watching this.
True. Pretty much the same feelings, almost exactly. It's I mean, like, one, it's a 24 eps, it's a 23, 24 eps, so it's like it's just over 12, so you get like a little bit of like a fuller experience also to add in as far as like the actual qualities of the anime itself. They have the elements that MGG introduced that really kind of grasp you as far as the naming power structure and the involvement slash like power increases that the side characters get. It just like brings you in and like and just makes it interesting for you to watch and see them actually grow along with the actual country growth aspect that they're actually developing of this country of monsters in general, in the sense of, at least from like most isekai, should I say, it's all about, like human growth, you know what I mean, and like human society just trying to get used to like, the different world of humans. But for this, it's like the actual different world of monsters and how they're also like growing together in like a human-based society, sure, but they definitely throw in like the comparison in the sense of like, these are ogres, these are lizard men, like these are orcs, like actually trying to like do this ish, and like the actual head honcho is a slime that homie just like, just chills. It's like a little ball of goop, actually just making like these big moves, and it's just like a little different, definitely funny, definitely interesting, and it'll just be like a pleasantly light, yet at some points pretty dope watch for the action scenes in it too, that is just like a all around just kind of encompassing reasonable anime to just get you through for at least like a good weekend, as MBG was saying. So definitely recommend it from me.
If I had to kind of rate it or recommend it, it wouldn't be at the top of my list of recommendations. I think I agree with the sentiment. Like, if you got a free weekend and you just like, y'all want to watch something, it's not bad. You won't be upset with your watch. I don't believe you'll necessarily be wowed. I think the things that it excels in are the interesting fight and premise, and then also the idea of like world building your own nation. Couple of isekais that do that a little better. There are a couple of isekais that do action better as well. So it's like, if you're interested in those very niche things, there's definitely, better options out there for you. But if you got nothing but time to spare, sure. Yeah, that's where I would put it. Is like, I'm not impressed. I'm not in love with it, but at the same time, I don't.
To summarize for the audience, it looks like Player 5 has a big, heavy indifferent feeling regarding that.
Yeah.
Just in case
You don't have to run to pick up this series at all. Like,
let's put it this way:
if you waited a few years and watched it, it's still not gonna make much of a difference. And honestly, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, for the consistent fans who have seen my arguments about anime, if niggas was hyping this anime, I would be shitting on it right now. I would be like, yo, this shit ass. But nobody hyping it, so I'm just like, alright, it's okay. So I just want to let y'all know where I'm at. If niggas was actually hyping it, I'll be shitting on it right now.
So for pretty much that kind of like that Demon Slayer hype. If that was for this show, then it was.
If you had Demon Slayer hype, I'll be living. I'll be going off. But, niggas ain't hyping it like that, so it's alright.
Okay, a quick side note, just to the testament of like the toxic anime community points. Like just like for anyone listening, that's something important to take away. Then, all right, like just give anime and manga the respect they truly deserve, just so you don't ruin it for other anime watchers. That's all. So just to throw it in there.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I do think the show is, I don't know if underhype is the word, but nobody's talking about it is how I would say it. Because underhype implies it should be more hype. I wouldn't say that necessarily, but definitely for what the show's doing, I would have expected more people to talk about it.
True.
And I don't hear much about it at all. What did you say?
I said niggas should know its name for sure.
Okay, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
I agree.
And you can bring this anime up, and there'll be groups of people that like have never heard of it. I'm not saying you need to complete it, front to back the shit, but you should definitely know its name.
That's what's up.
Yo. All right. Well, with that, I think we can close this one out. Y'all for watching this edition of Should You Watch. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. You heard the recommendation. If you've already watched the series and you disagree or agree with us, let us know in the comment section below. If you haven't watched it yet, let us know if this video convinced you to start. Other than that, we are out of here.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Okay.